Have you ever wondered why you're doing everything right for your kidneys? Drinking black bean water, cutting salt, avoiding red meat? Yet you still wake up 2, 3, even 4 times a night just to use the bathroom, and every morning you feel more exhausted than the day before. Here's the part most people never hear until it's too late. Kidney damage doesn't scream, it whispers, and by the time your creatinine starts creeping up or your sleep quietly falls apart, your kidneys may already be under serious stress. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and I need you to understand something urgent right now. One of the most trusted kidney-saving foods people rely on today is not actually repairing the kidneys at all, and believing it's enough could be costing you precious time you can't afford to lose. The good news is this: protecting your kidneys doesn't require expensive supplements or extreme diets, but it does require knowing which foods truly nourish kidney cells and which ones only give you a false sense of safety. In this video, I'll show you why black beans are not the #1 food for kidney health, and I'll walk you through 7 simple root foods, many already in your kitchen, that research and real patient results show can better support kidney function, reduce nighttime urination, and ease the hidden burden your kidneys carry every single day. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll learn which one of these foods surprised even me, because it doesn't just protect the kidneys, it helps slow the chain reaction that leads to fatigue, inflammation, and accelerated aging. Let's start with a truth that makes many people uncomfortable. Black beans are not the #1 food for kidney health, even though almost everyone believes they are. Yes, black beans can help a little. They support mild detoxification and gentle diuretic activity. In simple terms, they help flush out some waste. But here's the problem most people never hear. Black beans do not actively repair kidney cells, and they do not rebuild the structures that are already weakening with age. I've seen this mistake again and again. One of my patients, a man in his early 60s, told me he had been drinking roasted black bean water almost every day for years. He truly believed he was protecting his kidneys. But when we checked his labs, his creatinine was slowly rising, and he was waking up multiple times each night to urinate. His kidneys weren't failing loudly, they were quietly wearing down. This happens because black beans work more like rinsing a filter with water. You may remove some surface debris, but you're not fixing the filter itself. And kidneys don't just need cleansing, they need nourishment, repair, and protection at the cellular level. Research shows that kidney decline is driven largely by chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and gradual loss of cellular energy. Foods that only increase urination without addressing these deeper mechanisms can create a false sense of security. You feel like you're doing something while the real damage continues underneath. This is why relying on a single food, no matter how traditional or popular, is one of the most dangerous habits for kidney health. The kidneys are complex organs. They don't respond to shortcuts. They respond to consistent, targeted support. Now, this doesn't mean black beans are useless. It means they're incomplete. And believing they're enough may delay the moment you take real action, the kind that could protect your kidneys before irreversible damage sets in. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there's something far more powerful than simply flushing the kidneys, and it starts with a root that doesn't just clean, but actually helps rebuild strength from the foundation up. And that brings us to the next food, one that works very differently and one most people completely underestimate. If black beans mainly help the kidneys flush, then Chinese yam, also known as shan yao, does something far more important. It helps rebuild strength from the root. This is where most people misunderstand kidney care. They focus only on cleansing, but aging kidneys don't fail because they're dirty, they fail because they're exhausted. And exhausted organs don't need more flushing, they need nourishment. In traditional Eastern medicine, Chinese yam has been used for centuries to support the kidneys without overheating the body. It's gentle, steady, and restorative, especially for older adults who already feel weak, cold, or depleted. Unlike harsh detox foods, it strengthens without stressing the system. Modern science now helps explain why. Chinese yam contains bioactive compounds that support mitochondrial energy production, the tiny power plants inside kidney cells. Studies suggest these compounds help slow cellular aging, stabilize blood sugar metabolism, and reduce oxidative stress, all of which directly lower the workload placed on the kidneys. I once worked with a patient in his late 60s who struggled with constant nighttime urination. He had tried supplements, herbal teas, and even doubled down on black bean water with little improvement. When we introduced simple Chinese yam porridge just 3 to 4 times a week, something changed. Within 6 weeks, he told me his sleep was deeper, his legs felt stronger, and his nighttime trips to the bathroom had noticeably decreased. That's not magic. That's physiology. When kidney cells regain energy and stability, the entire filtration system becomes more efficient quietly naturally. The best part, Chinese yam is easy to use. Steamed, boiled, or cooked into porridge, it fits effortlessly into daily meals. This isn't a short-term fix, it's a foundation. But here's the critical insight most people miss. Even rebuilding kidney strength isn't enough if digestion itself is weak. Because when digestion struggles, toxins linger, and the kidneys are forced to pick up the slack. And that's where the next food becomes essential. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there's another overlooked factor that silently overloads the kidneys, and almost no one connects it to what's happening at the dinner table. When digestion weakens, the kidneys are forced to work overtime. And this is where Chinese yam's quiet partner steps in. Taro, often called the poor man's ginseng. Taro doesn't overwhelm the body. It supports it slowly, steadily, and sustainably, which is exactly what aging kidneys need. As we get older, the digestive system becomes less efficient. Food isn't broken down completely, waste lingers longer, and the kidneys are left to deal with what the gut can't finish. Over time, that hidden burden accelerates kidney decline. I once met a patient with type 2 diabetes who constantly felt tired, bloated, and unfocused. His labs showed early kidney stress, but his biggest complaint was digestion. When we introduced simple taro-based meals just a few times a week, nothing fancy, his energy improved first. Then his digestion. And only after that did his kidney markers begin to stabilize. That sequence matters. Science backs this up. Taro contains resistant starch mucilage and digestive enzymes that help slow glucose absorption and improve gut function. Studies suggest that better glycemic control alone can significantly reduce the progression risk of chronic kidney disease. When blood sugar spikes less aggressively, the kidneys are spared from filtering excess glucose day after day, year after year. But Taro's benefit goes beyond blood sugar. Its natural antioxidants help protect blood vessels that feed the kidneys, improving circulation and oxygen delivery to renal tissue. That means kidney cells don't have to struggle for nutrients, they can finally work more efficiently. The beauty of taro is its simplicity. Steamed, boiled, or gently cooked into soups, it's easy to digest and deeply nourishing. This isn't about dramatic detoxes, it's about restoring balance. Yet here's something most people don't realize: even when digestion improves and blood sugar stabilizes, kidney stress can continue if inflammation quietly builds in the background. And for many older adults, that inflammation doesn't come from illness, it comes from heat, dryness, and poor circulation. And that brings us to the next food, one that doesn't just support the kidneys, but also restores blood flow and sleep quality. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there's another hidden factor that slowly damages the kidneys, and it's one almost everyone overlooks until nighttime symptoms appear. Even when digestion improves and blood sugar stabilizes, many people are surprised to find that their kidneys still feel heavy, their sleep remains shallow, and nighttime urination doesn't fully go away. That's because kidney weakness often walks hand in hand with poor blood quality and chronic low-grade inflammation, and this is where lotus root quietly makes a difference. In traditional medicine, lotus root has long been valued for its ability to cool internal heat, nourish the blood, and calm the system. But what makes it especially relevant today is how closely these effects connect to kidney health in older adults. When blood circulation slows and inflammation lingers, the kidneys struggle to receive adequate oxygen and nutrients. Over time, filtration efficiency drops, not suddenly but steadily. I once worked with a woman in her early 70s who came in complaining of constant fatigue, pale skin, thinning hair, and waking up multiple times each night. Her labs showed early kidney stress, but what stood out most was mild anemia and poor sleep quality. We didn't change her medications. We simply added warm lotus root soup with red dates in the evening 3 times a week. Within a month, she told me something simple but powerful: I sleep deeper now, and I wake up with strength again. Science supports this experience. Lotus root is rich in vitamin C, iron, and polyphenols, nutrients known to support red blood cell production and reduce inflammatory markers. Studies have shown that chronic inflammation and anemia are both strong predictors of faster kidney decline. When blood quality improves, kidneys don't have to fight as hard to do their job. Lotus root is also gentle. It can be steamed, simmered, or added to soups, making it easy to digest, especially important for older adults. However, because it has cooling properties, those prone to loose stools or cold sensitivity should use it in moderation and always cooked. Here's the key insight: improving blood flow and sleep gives the kidneys a chance to recover. But recovery stalls if waste products continue to build up faster than they're eliminated. And that leads us directly to the next food one that acts like a natural exit door for toxins the kidneys desperately need help removing. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there's another factor that silently strains the kidneys every single day. And most people never realize it until lab results begin to change. Even when blood quality improves and sleep becomes deeper, many people still notice something unsettling: foamy urine, bloating heaviness in the body, and lab results that refuse to fully stabilize. This is often a sign that waste products are still accumulating faster than the kidneys can remove them. And that's where white radish plays a surprisingly powerful role. White radish has long been called a natural kidney cleanser, but not in the harsh detox trend sense. It works gently, consistently, and intelligently. Instead of forcing the kidneys to work harder, it helps open up elimination pathways, allowing waste to exit the body more efficiently through urine and digestion. I once treated a man in his mid-60s who was alarmed by persistent foamy urine. His kidney function was declining slowly, and he was anxious about where things were headed. Rather than immediately adding more medication, we focused on simple dietary support. We introduced cooked white radish into his meal soups, stews, nothing raw. 2 months later, his follow-up labs showed stabilization, and he told me the foamy urine had noticeably decreased. There's real science behind this. White radish contains sulfur-based compounds, fiber, and natural enzymes that support uric acid excretion and reduce oxidative stress. Elevated uric acid and chronic toxin buildup are known contributors to kidney damage, gout, and vascular stress. Studies show that improving uric acid clearance can significantly reduce kidney workload and slow disease progression. Another overlooked benefit is blood pressure regulation. White radish is naturally rich in potassium, which helps balance sodium levels in the body. When sodium retention drops, blood pressure eases, and the kidneys are no longer forced to filter against constant high pressure. The best part is how accessible it is. White radish is inexpensive, widely available, and easy to cook. When prepared properly, it's gentle on digestion and deeply supportive for kidney health. But here's the turning point many people miss: even with better waste removal and lower pressure, the kidneys can still suffer if blood sugar remains unstable. Because sugar spikes quietly strain the filtration system every single day. And that brings us to the next food one that doesn't just feed the body, but helps protect the kidneys from one of the most damaging forces of modern life. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there's another factor that silently accelerates kidney damage, and it's something most people eat without thinking twice. Even after waste is cleared more efficiently and blood pressure begins to stabilize, there is still one silent force that continues to grind the kidneys down day after day: unstable blood sugar. And this is where a food many people overlook completely becomes incredibly important: sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes don't protect the kidneys by being dramatic. They protect them by being smart. As we age, the body becomes less tolerant of blood sugar spikes. Every sudden rise in glucose forces the kidneys to filter excess sugar out of the blood, increasing pressure inside the tiny filtration units. Over time, this constant strain accelerates kidney decline. I once worked with a patient in his mid-60s who woke up 3 to 4 times every night to urinate. His blood pressure was borderline, his blood sugar slightly elevated, and his kidney function slowly trending down. Instead of making drastic changes, we did something simple. He replaced part of his evening white rice with a small portion of boiled sweet potato. After several weeks, he came back surprised. He said, "I sleep longer now. I don't wake up as much, and my body feels lighter." That result wasn't a coincidence. Sweet potatoes are rich in soluble fiber, which slows glucose absorption after meals. Studies show that smoother blood sugar curves reduce glomerular pressure in the kidneys and significantly lower the risk of chronic kidney disease progression. Less glucose overload means less filtration, stress day after day. Sweet potatoes also contain potassium, which helps counter sodium retention. This balance reduces fluid overload and supports healthier blood pressure, giving the kidneys a much-needed break. And unlike refined carbohydrates, sweet potatoes release energy, gradually preventing the late-night spikes that often trigger nocturia. The key is moderation. Sweet potatoes are nourishing, but overeating them can cause bloating. One small portion, 2 to 3 times a week, is enough to make a difference. But here's what most people don't realize: even when blood sugar and blood pressure improve, the kidneys can still struggle if circulation itself is poor. Because without adequate blood flow, kidney cells simply cannot heal. And that brings us to the next food one that works not by feeding the kidneys, but by improving the blood that reaches them. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there's another hidden factor that quietly starves the kidneys of oxygen, and almost no one is warned about it. Even when blood sugar is calmer and blood pressure is better controlled, many kidneys still don't recover the way we expect. The reason is simple but rarely explained: the kidneys may still be undersupplied with blood and oxygen. And that's where Kudzu root, also known as arrowroot, quietly changes the equation. Kudzu root has been used for generations to cool the body and restore balance, but modern research reveals something far more important for kidney health. It helps relax blood vessels and improve circulation, allowing more oxygen-rich blood to reach kidney tissue. Without proper blood flow, no amount of kidney-friendly food can truly repair damage. I once worked with a patient in his early 60s who struggled with fluctuating blood pressure and unstable blood sugar. His labs weren't catastrophic, but his kidneys were clearly under stress. He often felt dizzy, overheated, and restless at night. Instead of adding another medication right away, we introduced warm Kudzu root tea in the afternoon, just a few times a week. After 1 month, he reported steadier energy, fewer blood pressure swings, and most importantly, more restful sleep. Science helps explain why. Kudzu root contains isoflavones such as puerperin compounds shown to improve microcirculation, reduce vascular resistance, and support glucose regulation. Studies suggest that better microvascular flow directly lowers stress on kidney filtration units by stabilizing pressure and nutrient delivery. When blood moves smoothly, kidneys don't have to fight to do their job. Another advantage is how gentle Kudzu is on digestion. Its starch is soothing, cooling, and easy to absorb, helping reduce internal heat and constipation, 2 factors that often force the kidneys to compensate unnecessarily. But moderation is critical. Taken in excess, Kudzu can lower blood pressure too much or cause digestive discomfort, especially in people who already run cold or dizzy easily. 1 warm cup 2 to 3 times per week is more than enough. Here's the key realization: even with better circulation, sugar control, and detox support, the kidneys can still deteriorate if inflammation continues unchecked. And inflammation is the final trigger that determines whether kidney stress stabilizes or progresses. And that leads us to the final food, the one that acts like a shield against ongoing damage. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there's one last factor that quietly decides whether kidney damage slows down or becomes irreversible. Even when circulation improves, blood sugar stabilizes, and waste is eliminated more efficiently, there is still one silent enemy that decides the final outcome of kidney health, and that enemy is chronic inflammation. This is where turmeric becomes more than a spice. It becomes a shield. Most people think kidney damage happens suddenly. It doesn't. It happens slowly through years of low-grade inflammation, quietly scarring kidney tissue from the inside. And one of the biggest mistakes I see is long-term reliance on painkillers or anti-inflammatory drugs without realizing they place an enormous burden on the kidneys. I once treated a man in his late 50s who had mild kidney inflammation. He wasn't in pain, but his lab results told a different story. Instead of increasing medication right away, we added something simple: warm turmeric milk in the evening, a few times a week, and turmeric-based meals prepared gently with food. 3 months later, his inflammatory markers improved, his kidney function stabilized, and he told me something unexpected: I feel calmer, and my joints don't ache like before. Science explains this clearly. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has been shown in multiple studies to reduce inflammatory signaling, limit oxidative damage, and slow fibrosis in kidney tissue. Fibrosis or scarring is what makes kidney damage irreversible. When inflammation is controlled early, the kidneys still have a chance to protect what remains. Turmeric also helps stabilize blood lipids and glucose, indirectly reducing the toxic load kidneys must process. And when combined with a small amount of black pepper, curcumin absorption increases dramatically, turning a common kitchen ingredient into a powerful protective tool. But turmeric must be used wisely. Too much can irritate digestion or stress the liver, and people with gallbladder issues or bleeding disorders must be cautious. One small dose used consistently is enough. Here's the truth most people never hear. Kidney health isn't about one miracle food, it's about removing the forces that slowly destroy it. And inflammation is the final gatekeeper. But knowing this alone is not enough, because how you combine these foods and the daily habits that support them may ultimately decide whether your kidneys recover or continue to decline. Before we finish, I want to say this clearly. If you're still watching, it means you care about your health, and that already puts you ahead of most people. Your kidneys are quiet organs. They don't complain. They don't warn you loudly. They just keep working day after day until one day they can't anymore. And the goal of everything we talked about today is simple: to give your kidneys support before they reach that point. You don't need to change everything overnight. Start small, choose one food we discussed, adjust one habit, drink a little more warm water. Go to bed a little earlier. Protecting your kidneys isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. If this video helped you understand your kidneys better, please save this video. There may come a day when you want to revisit it or share it with someone you love who's struggling with sleep fatigue or kidney concerns. And if you want to keep learning how to care for your kidneys naturally, safely, and based on real medical insight, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. I share new kidney health knowledge regularly, simple, practical information you can actually use in daily life. Most importantly, I want you to remember this: it's not too late. Many people believe kidney decline is inevitable with age. It isn't. With the right knowledge and the right habits, you can slow the process, protect what you have, and feel stronger for years to come. Take care of yourself, take care of your kidneys, and I'll see you in the next video.